It started as a whisper, a dark line of clouds on the horizon, a subtle warning that something was coming. Nothing unusual for the flatlands, where storms are as much a part of life as the endless rows of corn. But this time, the air thickened, heavy and electric, pressing down on everything. The birds fell silent, their songs cut short, and even the bugs seemed to vanish, as if the world was holding its breath. The sky didn't just open up, it tore apart with a violence that felt almost personal. This wasn't rain. It was a relentless pounding assault, marble-sized drops hammering tin roofs with a roar that shook the bones and rattled windows, drowning out every other sound. Outside, the world blurred into gray. Landmarks vanished in the deluge. The old oak at the property's edge became just a shadow behind a wall of water, its branches thrashing in the wind. Rain fell in solid curtains, erasing the line between sky and earth, turning the familiar landscape into something unrecognizable. Creeks swelled into raging torrents, carrying away the debris of daily life. Branches, fence posts, even memories swept along in the current. The ground surrendered. At first, the thirsty soil drank it in, but soon, it was overwhelmed. Puddles became ponds, ponds became lakes, spreading wider with every passing minute. Water swallowed roads and fence lines, erasing the boundaries we thought were permanent. The familiar patchwork of fields disappeared beneath a muddy inland sea, the landscape transformed in a matter of hours. Order gave way to chaos. The routines of daily life were swept aside, replaced by uncertainty and awe. We draw lines, build fences, and think we've tamed the land, convinced that our boundaries will hold. But storms like this remind us how fragile that control really is, how quickly it can be undone. Nature doesn't care about property lines or planting schedules. It moves with its own purpose, indifferent to our plans. Its power can undo a lifetime of work in a single afternoon, erasing years of effort in moments. All you can do is watch, humbled as the world you know is washed away, powerless in the face of such force, and realize there's nothing you can do to stop it. Only endure and hope for the sky to clear once more. Out here, people know weather. They live by it. Every season, every harvest, every plan depends on what the sky decides to do, but nobody had seen anything like this. Not in living memory, not in the stories passed down through generations. Old-timers recall the big floods, but this was different. A storm that broke all the rules. It was as if the past and present collided, but the scale was something new. Normally, storms roll through, drop some rain and move on. The land soaks it up, and life continues. This year they parked over the Corn Belt, dumping a season's worth of rain in a week. Fields turned to lakes, and roads disappeared beneath the water. The official term is a stalled frontal system, but to those living through it, it felt like the sky simply refused to move on. On the ground, it felt biblical, the kind of storm you read about, not one you expect to see outside your window. The intensity and duration were unprecedented. 10 inches in 3 days on already saturated soil. There was nowhere for the water to go. Infrastructure built for a 100-year flood was overwhelmed. Levees, drains, and roads simply couldn't keep up. The definition of normal was rewritten, leaving everyone anxious and uncertain. What once felt rare now feels possible any spring. Scientists warned that a warmer atmosphere means more extreme rainfall. The data is clear, and the warnings are growing louder. Now, it's not theory, it's reality. The headlines are no longer distant, they're local, and they're personal. The Midwest monsoon isn't just a catchy name, it's a sign that the weather we counted on is changing, and that changes everything. How we farm, how we live, how we prepare. The rhythm of the land is broken. The patterns that shape generations are now uncertain. Farmers and engineers alike are left scratching their heads, looking at the sky with new fear. The old solutions don't fit the new problems. This isn't a fluke, it's the new normal. What was once rare is now expected, and it's forcing everyone to rethink what the future holds. The only certainty now is change, and the need to adapt together. When water has nowhere to go, it goes everywhere. Basements, main streets, front lawns, nothing was spared. Sandbags went up, neighbors worked side by side, but the flood kept coming. Families lost more than possessions, memories, security, and the comfort of home washed away. For farmers, barns and equipment were swamped, livestock moved in a desperate rush, and grain bins threatened with ruin. The flood paralyzed the region, roads impassable, bridges out, daily life halted. The world shrank to the edge of the water, leaving people isolated and helpless. The heartland, known for its wide-open spaces, suddenly felt small and claustrophobic. The emotional toll was immense, lingering long after the water receded. The flood didn't just damage property, it changed lives. Cedar Creek, a town like 1,000 others, proud and self-reliant. When the warnings came, everyone pitched in, sandbagging, checking on neighbors, moving furniture upstairs. But the river kept rising, pushing against the levee until, in the night, it quietly gave way. By morning, Main Street was a river. The diner, hardware store, library, all underwater. Boats became the only way around. Volunteers rescued families from rooftops and second floors. The silence was eerie, broken only by boat motors and distant helicopters. The heart of the community was now a disaster zone. For Cedar Creek, this wasn't just a flood, it was the loss of a way of life. As people were ferried to dry ground, one question lingered. What happens now? The familiar was gone, replaced by uncertainty, and the town spirit was put to the ultimate test. I met Dave Miller, a third-generation farmer, standing on the highest ground he could find, looking out over what used to be his land, now a 500-acre lake. The water stretched as far as the eye could see, swallowing up fields that had been in his family for generations. The silence was heavy, broken only by the distant sound of rushing water and the occasional call of a bird displaced by the flood. "I've seen droughts, hail, early frosts," he said, his voice rough with exhaustion. "But never this! It's all gone!" The weight of loss was written in every line on his face, a lifetime of work washed away in a matter of days. He pointed to where his house stood, built by his father. "We got the cats out, but that's about it. The water came up so fast. The memories, the family photos, the old furniture, most of it was lost beneath the muddy water, swept away before they could even think to save it. For Dave, the land is more than a business. It's his identity. Losing it is losing a part of himself, a connection to his past and a legacy for his children that now feels uncertain. Insurance can't buy back your father's house, or the memories that made it a home. Some things, once lost, can never truly be replaced." Then there's Sarah Jenkins, a single mom who ran the Daily Grind coffee shop in Cedar Creek, a place that was more than just a business. It was a gathering spot for the whole town. When I found her at the high school shelter, she was serving meals, even though her own home and business were underwater. She moved quickly, checking on neighbors, making sure everyone had enough to eat. "What else am I gonna do?" she shrugged. "Sit here and cry. I can do that later. Right now people are hungry." Her determination was clear, even as exhaustion crept into her eyes. She showed me photos, water up to the countertops, her dream ruined. The coffee shop she'd built from scratch, now just another casualty of the flood. "That was my whole life in there. But it's just stuff. My kids are safe. We'll figure out the rest." Her voice trembled, but her resolve was unbroken. It's a gritty resilience you see everywhere here. People rolling up their sleeves, helping neighbors, refusing to give in to despair. People can't control what happens, but they can control how the steam bad. In the face of overwhelming loss, they choose action over helplessness. In the face of disaster, they choose to help. Strangers become friends, and friends become family, bound together by shared hardship. That's the real strength of the floodplain. It's not just the land, but the people who refuse to let disaster define them. It's not just about survival, it's about community. It's about rebuilding, together, one day at a time, no matter how long it takes. And that's what keeps hope alive. Even when the waters rise, the spirit of the floodplain endures, stronger than ever. Before the flood, the corn stood tall, a sea of green, the backbone of the region. But an engine can't run underwater. The flood suffocated the plants, drowning roots in rotting fields, millions of acres lost. For many, it's a total wipeout. No crop, no income, a year's work gone. The ripple effect is enormous. Grain elevators empty, trucking companies idle, ethanol plants stalled, Jobs vanish, local economies reel, and the pain spreads far beyond the Midwest. Community gardens and small farms are wiped out too. With so much corn destroyed, prices spike, livestock feed, meat, dairy, even soda costs more. This isn't just a local disaster, it's a national one. The muddy waters in Iowa and Nebraska will hit wallets across the country. It's a stark reminder of how connected we all are to this patch of dirt. The flood's impact will be felt for months, even years, and the lesson is clear. What happens here matters everywhere. The golden crop is gone and the consequences ripple outward. The heartland's loss is everyone's loss. When disaster strikes, the first responders are often neighbors, not officials. In the chaos, the community pulls together, a harvest of kindness and grit. Church basements and school gyms become shelters, staffed by volunteers who've lost their own homes. The Cajun Navy of the plains, farmers and fishermen, arrive with boats, rescuing strangers. Local business owners use what they have, equipment, food, time, to help others. These aren't grand gestures for the cameras, just quiet acts of decency. The social fabric here is stronger than any flood wall. When a neighbor is in trouble, you help. No questions, no paperwork. Recovery begins not with government checks, but with a hot meal and a helping hand. In the end, it's the community that does the real rebuilding. When the water recedes, it leaves behind a world coated in mud and loss. The smell, mud, decay, chemicals, signals the start of the real work. Homeowners gut their houses, hauling ruined memories to the curb. The cleanup is overwhelming, the mud inescapable, the emotional toll immense. Many face impossible choices: rebuild or leave, go into debt or start over elsewhere. Farmers clear debris, assess ruined machinery, and try to restore damaged soil. Insurance helps, but rarely covers everything. Recovery is measured in years, not months. Some businesses never reopen, some families move away, but the stubborn resilience of the people remains. The flood knocked them down, but not out. As the mud is scraped away and rebuilding begins, a new conversation starts. This wasn't a one-time event. The Midwest monsoon was a warning. The question isn't if it will happen again, but when, and how to prepare. Towns talk about stronger levees, better drainage, restoring wetlands. Some consider moving out of the floodplain altogether. Farmers look to new techniques, cover crops, terraces, better drainage, to adapt. It's about more than infrastructure. It's about community, early warning systems, volunteer networks, neighbors checking on neighbors. You can't stop the rain, but you can build a community strong enough to withstand the storm, because the next big one is coming, and preparation starts now.